Tonight, traditional landowners protest against gasification at Leigh Creek and a $130 million copper refinery upgrade.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Good evening. Hundreds have rallied in Leigh Creek calling on the state government to ban underground coal gasification in South Australia. Locals fear a proposed commercial project in the town could pose new risks.
Men, women and children, a united voice marching against a mining plan.
We say no, UCG has to go!
Hundreds in Copley rallying on the weekend against Leigh Creek Energy's ambitions to build an underground coal gasification project in the area. Trials by the company have uncovered what they claim to be the largest gas reserve for commercial use, but locals are calling for a statewide ban of the mining practice.
I want to see the state government, stop this madness.
Energy Minister Dan Van Hulst-Pellekaan attended the protest and says the company behind the deal has finished initial tests on the site.
Does that mean that the issue of potential underground coal gasification has gone forever with them? No, it doesn't mean that.
Both the minister and the opposition were unavailable today to answer questions on whether or not they would support a ban. But Indigenous leaders say the risks for gas exploration are too big to ignore.
It can affect all the waterways. That's what it's done up in Queensland.
The process has already been banned in Queensland after a trial allegedly polluted nearby agricultural land with toxic chemicals. But Leigh Creek Energy says its project is safe and would greatly boost the town.
Where we'll have at least 400 people working at the site and possibly more, depending on how far we want to expand it.
It's not over for us. We'll continue to lobby until we get that ban in place.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
100 new jobs are set to be created at the Olympic Dam mine, with BHP announcing an investment of $130 million to upgrade its copper refinery. A new 75-tonne crane will be purchased, as well as a new stripping machine which will help isolate the purest copper in the process. The investment works are expected to begin in June this year and should run until the middle of 2021. It comes after the Olympic Dam mine was given major project status by the state government in February. The Lower Eyre Peninsula's road upgrades have been under the spotlight again, this time at a public forum held by South Australia's Transport Minister. It follows on from Viterra's announcement last month that it's discontinuing use of rail transport.
The closure of the Lower Eyre Peninsula's century-old railway is an issue dividing the region, prompting visits from several government officials, including most recently South Australia's Transport Minister.
We are going to listen. We're going to listen to the community, we're going to listen to the industry, and we're going to listen to the councils about what the priorities are, but we are here to solve this problem.
This public forum held last night outlining the government's investment into upgrading roads. Despite the big promises, there were small crowds, only 12 members from the wider public attending.
We want to make sure that we work with the trucking industry, with locals as well, to make sure that we've got the top priorities and then put that into the bucket and see what projects we can get off the ground.
The government says it's exploring strategies with how best to accommodate the additional 30,000 trucks per year, some suggesting rehabilitating the railway into a freight corridor. It's easier said than done.
We don't own the rail corridor, that's Genesee, Wyoming, but we're certainly keen to see how that fits in as a potential traffic solution.
With around 70% of grain already being transported on road, some locals are saying that increased truck movements won't be as bad as people think, as long as local communities are being consulted on upgrade priorities.
The people that make the decision to spend the money want to listen to us and do the things that we're suggesting, then I don't think we'll have a problem. I really don't.
With the annual harvest 6 months away and the railway set to close at the end of the month, time will tell how the region will cope. The Labor Party was unavailable to provide comment in time for our bulletin. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Plans to build a new helipad at Port Broughton's District Hospital are taking off. The $80,000 pad set to ensure a quicker life-saving response time for Medivacs.
Port Broughton residents say they only ever hear the sound of helicopter blades cutting through the town sky for one reason: a medical emergency. Historically, medivacs have taken place on the local oval across the road from the hospital.
So at the moment, when we call for a retrieval, if we're transferring someone out that might have had a major trauma or a major medical condition, they land on the footy oval.
The hospital says it's planning on building a helipad even closer, because when it comes to saving lives, every second counts.
It can add up to probably 20 minutes, half an hour, just purely in the loading and offloading.
Alison says retrievals can be a logistical nightmare, with Port Broughton lacking a permanent ambulance presence, relying heavily on local volunteers and for paramedics to come in from out of town.
But we backfill, unfortunately, from out of town, so often it will be from Port Pirie or from Kadina or Copper Coast coming up.
With backing from Barunga West Council, the hospital hopes to build on neighbouring vacant land. Council is attempting to get state government funding to help move nearby power lines underground to help open up a safe flight path.
We certainly see that it would be an important bit of infrastructure within the town to add to the existing hospital and medical service.
Both parties are hoping to have a pad up and running in 2020. Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Whyalla Hospital will be reviewing its safety procedures following an improvement notice from Safe Work SA. New measures may include duress alarms and security guards in the emergency department during peak patient flow. The reviews relate to an incident which occurred on January 23rd this year, where 2 patients allegedly became abusive in the waiting room.
Most staff are telling me that that security is needed, so we need to do this. We need to do this quickly before there's another violent incident.
The Safe Work notice gives the hospital until the end of next month to respond. A 36-year-old Whyalla man will face court after being found driving with an alleged alcohol reading of 0.133, more than double the legal limit. The man had the reading taken on Cartledge Avenue early Saturday morning. He immediately lost his licence for 6 months and had his car impounded for nearly 1 month. Still to come tonight, students learn about the role of Indigenous police trackers, and the Flinders Rangers showcased at a Port Augusta exhibition. Welcome back. Police in Port Pirie have paid a special visit to John Pirie High School, acknowledging the history of Aboriginal trackers and police aides. The hallmark event, part of Foundation Day, an annual celebration around the establishment of South Australia Police.
Gaining valuable insight into the history of South Australia's Indigenous trackers. Students from John Pirie Secondary School focusing on celebrating the history between police and Indigenous people.
South Australian Police celebrate Foundation Day, and each year we do that with a particular theme that reflects the rich and diverse history of the South Australian Police.
The tracker assisting the South Australian Police Force since 1852, using unique skills of reading the land in an attempt to find those missing in harsh terrain. The role of the police tracker has evolved over the years, transforming into today's position of community constable.
We have 36 community constables located through metropolitan, rural and regional South Australia, and they work with the police and community.
Teaching staff happy to encourage a positive relationship between Indigenous and Torres Strait Islanders and the South Australian Police.
It's integral for them to have a strong and positive relationship with SAPOL, a strong and positive relationship with all of our different community groups.
Today's event tying into this year's Reconciliation Week theme.
The Reconciliation Week slogan this year is acknowledging truth and walking together with courage, walking together towards a brighter future.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A new rural health clinic using student podiatrists and physiotherapists has officially opened at the University of South Australia's Whyalla campus. Locals can now access treatment close to home, while students are provided an invaluable learning experience.
The Whyalla Uni SA Rural Health Clinic opening its doors to the wider community. After being so successful in its pilot launch last year, UniSA decided to open the clinic to public patients. The community welcoming the centre with community leaders among those attending the opening ceremony, saying it's a step forward for medical care in Whyalla. Professor Esther May says this clinic encourages graduates to seek employment in rural locations because there's a lack of these practitioners in these areas.
So we're trying to put these sorts of clinics in place so that we then get students interested.
The clinic providing hands-on experience for allied health students in physiotherapy, exercise physiology and occupational therapy.
And this is a really important development for us to be able to provide this sort of service, but have the students providing the intervention.
The clinic features 4 consulting spaces and a paediatric space for children. Students exposed to a wide range of injuries to ensure they gain an in-depth understanding of health issues in regional communities.
Doing a rural placement, you get to see a lot more than you would in the city or a metro area, and it really gives you a better understanding and appreciation for a future in healthcare.
Shari Ham, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Emmy-winning and multi-Grammy-nominated recording artist Toni Childs is bringing her Australian tour to the Eyre Peninsula. The singer-songwriter performing a special 2-hour performance celebrating 30 years of her album Union.
There's some key songs that really shaped Union, and I talk about the process and how my process of writing a song, so they get to see what that is, but it really just giving people a chance to reconnect with themselves.
Toni will be performing in Port Lincoln, Whyalla and Port Augusta later this month. For tickets, visit her website. A new art exhibition has opened at Port Augusta's Yata Pertley, showcasing the vivid outdoor landscapes of the Flinders Ranges. The series of over 50 paintings, even featuring a giant canvas, which is over 5 metres wide.
A vast array of colours and intricate details, inspired by all things outdoors. But for artist Joel Plevin, this exhibition really only happened by chance.
Just in the gallery here talking to the volunteers, and they come up that they had an opening in May, and I sort of jumped at the opportunity.
The Edge of the Outback exhibit paints the picture of the region's most iconic flora and fauna.
Oh, it's awesome, especially when you see the red kangaroo and the old windmills.
Living in Wilmington, the young creator says he's never short of ideas.
It gives me a good opportunity to go out into the Flinders and do some painting on site, so I really enjoy that.
Among the over 50 paintings, Joel's favourite in the collection is hard to miss.
It's about 5 metres by 2 metres, and it took me over a week to finish, so that was quite a project.
Most of the work in here, I think Joel has done in 2019, so we're only May, and he's done all this in the last 4 months, so, a real credit to him.
The exhibition will be open until the end of the month.
Come and support the gallery and the work that the local people are doing.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Nathan will have the latest sports results and we'll have the weather details with Britt. Hello again. It was another competitive weekend in sport with the 2019 Hockey Country Championships hosted in Adelaide. Players from around the Eyre Peninsula battling it out for the top position.
Well, it was all about the Port Lincoln's women's team in this year's championship, with them battling it out in the finale. The girls had victory in their sights, with the team beating Barossa 2-1 at the start of the day. In the championship, it was a close battle between Lincoln and Peary, with the Peary girls taking out the championship in a shootout. Around the region now and to Whyalla, with the Kiwi netball team racking up a 54-goal win against Rapia. In the other games, we saw the Ravens go against True Blue. Some fierce competition here, with True Blue taking the win, 63-31. And lastly, it was the YCW versus the Warriors. The YCW won their game by 27 points. Over to Port Augusta now, and we saw the Vikings win their match against the Magpies, 58-42, while St Joseph's scored an 8-point victory over Railways. Down to Port Pirie now, and St Mark Celtic scored 52 against Port's 34. There was a point difference in the second game between Blue Wren and Central Risdon. A strong play by Samara Walks saw Blue Wren pull ahead and take the win. Over to Broken Hill now, now, and it was a massive victory for St Joe's Jesters, who had a 39-point win against the Dream Team. It was a closer match between United and West Flames Black, 29 to United and 38 to West. And in the final A-grade match, we saw West Flames Red defeat SFC, West Red winning the 33 goals. Well, that's it for this week. If you have any local sports results you would like featured here at Seven Spencer Golf News, drop us a message at localsport@sca.com.au.
And with the rest of the week's weather details, here's Britt Aylen.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. Today saw partly cloudy skies at Port Augusta with a top temp of 22 degrees. Whyalla experienced some showers with a top of 21. Broken Hill and Port Pirie both remaining sunny, also reaching 21 degrees. Port Lincoln with showers and wind and a top of 19 today. On the satellite, a cold front moved from near Ceduna across coastal waters today. A more vigorous cold front is forecast to come our way tomorrow evening. To the Gulf waters with northwesterly winds tomorrow at up to 30 knots and seas at 3 metres. Sunrise is due at 7:06 a.m. with sunset just before 20 to 6. Port Augusta looking fine and partly cloudy tomorrow, a top of 20 degrees, Whyalla 19, Port Lincoln with showers and a top of 18, Coffin Bay 17, Woodness showers and 19, Corner top of 20, Broken Hill 18, Port Pirie showers and 22, Clare 15, Cleve 17 and a top of 18 degrees at Kadina tomorrow. Ahead to Thursday now with gusty winds expected, Port Lincoln with showers and a top of 15, showers again on Friday. Much the same at Cleve with slightly cooler conditions, Woodnett 14 on Thursday, Friday 17. Whyalla with showers Thursday and Friday, tops of 16. Port Augusta with rain forecast on Thursday, showers Friday ahead of a fine weekend. And Kadina with a rainy Thursday, 15 degrees. Port Pirie expecting showers on Thursday and rain to end the week. Clare with rain and a top of 11 degrees on Thursday. Broken Hill with gusty winds and rain expected. And Louise, that's it from me. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Britt. And that's your local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll have updates later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.